Well, as Russia is ramping up attacks in eastern Ukraine, 5 nations, including the U.S., are warning that Russia could launch a series of cyber attacks, which comes after Russia test-launched a nuclear-capable missile.
The cyber attacks would take aim at countries backing Ukraine, which also comes amid the Kremlin's growing frustration at its failure to make military gains. Joining us now to discuss, former CIA Covert Operations Officer Mike Baker. Mike, what do you think this could look like, and how should we respond?
Well, it could look very ugly, and the problem is that it's new territory, and which is why, nations have been so reluctant, even though they are engaged in a sense, in sort of cyber warfare already, and have been for years in terms of testing and mapping out other nations' infrastructure. The reason why it's been sort of a sensitive area is because it is new territory, and because we don't know how quickly it could escalate and what a proportional response would look like. But I can guarantee you, if Russia were to decide that, for whatever reason, that they believed that it was a good next step to engage in major cyber attacks against the U.S. and NATO, they've essentially crossed a line that we can no longer then say, all right, we can't get engaged because we don't want to provoke Putin. What he's done is horrible enough, but if he starts shutting down power grids, that's an act of war against NATO or the U.S.
So that, because we've had this conversation before, whether cyber warfare is in fact an act of war, and then would that be enough to elicit a response?
Yeah, and that's, again, the problem here is the Pentagon and our allies, we've all been struggling with this question over the years as to, because it's difficult, right? You can attribute a missile attack to a nation. You can figure that out. You know the launch point, you know the trajectory. That's easy to define. And we've got decades of knowing what a proportional response could look like to that. But when you're talking about engaging in cyber attacks on a state-sponsored level against another nation, that is, that's an unknown. And that scares a lot of people in the military and the intel community, not just here in the U.S., but with our allies. Because, again, the problem is escalation and how rapidly that could escalate, and what that could mean then in terms of, global conflict that you can't walk back from.
Mike, how does Putin save face at this point? He's already been embarrassed by not taking over Ukraine, not only in days and weeks, it's a couple months now. Right. He's having trouble just solidifying that land bridge to the Black Sea. If you read it right, he's got some political pressure at home. And I think what we worry about in the West is that out of reaching a point where he has nothing to lose, he starts doing these things to us.
Right, and I think he's, there was some talk early on in this conflict that, he was off the rails and mentally unstable, and I don't think that's the case, but there is the danger of him not seeing an off-ramp, of him not seeing a way, as you put it, to save face. Now, there's some important, parameters here. They've got a very important date coming up, May 9th, which is Victory Day. Right, which is the Russian celebration of the defeat of the Nazis, the surrender of the Nazis back in May 9th, 1945. It is very likely that Putin wants something that he can trumpet on May 9th, on Victory Day in Russia, to try to shore up his image and to show the population, look, we've done this. Now, whether that means he's completely secured the eastern portion of the country down through there and created this land bridge that we've been talking about for some time, that may be sufficient for him to tout, look, this is what we've done. Look at this. We've rescued, our brethren on the eastern side of the Ukraine. That's how he would put it. And perhaps then that allows for some type of discussion. But the difficulty here is that we're talking, the U.S. and NATO, we're talking about, look, the only victory here is if we get the Russians completely out of the Ukraine. Mm-hmm. Well, the Russians have been in the Ukraine since 2014. Mm-hmm. And we weren't talking about it for the past 7 years, right? We weren't talking about getting the Russians out of the Ukraine for the past 7 years as a matter of national security for the U.S. and NATO. but now we are. So we're creating an environment where, there may not be any room to negotiate this in any meaningful way.
And that is a key question right there that you just posed, because I was thinking of the wording that you just used about what Putin could declare. Would that be enough without there being an official negotiation and an end to this, and therefore Ukraine agreeing to give up officially those portions in eastern Ukraine?
Yeah, I don't know that, we're in a position at this stage where President Zelensky and the Ukrainian government, the people, would be willing to say, fine, we will give up this territory that, in a sense, we haven't had control over for seven plus years.
Right.
But, again, you have to look in the real world. There's the emotion of all of this and the feels, and the pride that, everyone feels in the fight that the Ukrainian people have put up. But at the same time, you have to look at where is this going? And if we continue to provide weaponry, and NATO provides weaponry to the Ukraine, is that sufficient in itself to reach some victory where the Russians are completely out of the Ukraine? I don't see how that works.
Yeah.
So that would imply that we do something more than we're doing currently, and then we're in this game where we're thinking, would that help Putin?
We will see. All right, Mike Baker, thank you very much for joining us.
Sure, thank you.
And more of American Agenda after this.
Who can you trust? A new study finds Americans don't trust big media. Millions are going to Newsmax as their trusted source. They go to Newsmax.com and watch Newsmax TV for the news they really need to know. They download the free Newsmax app. Almost 7 million cable viewers watch Newsmax, but not Fox News. And 20 million Americans like you have made the switch and watch Newsmax all the time. So make the switch to Newsmax for real news.
Nothing feels better than having support, and the same goes for your footwear. So you've got to try Skechers Arch Fit. Skechers teamed up with podiatrists and designed footwear with podiatrists